Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for a presentation and conversation with Michelle Lenz on the topic of critical thinking and AI. You're welcome to submit questions or comments into the chat feature at any time. And we are always wanting to see who's joining us and from where. So if you're so inclined, please let us know. And recording this webcast, which will be approximately 45 minutes long, will be available in the next couple of days on the Clarity Consultants website and on Clarity Consultants YouTube channel. I am your host, Brenda McNabb, VP of Service and Development with Clarity Consultants. And I've had the pleasure and privilege of the past 20 years of working with many learning and development leaders, including many in the Fortune 500, by providing top learning and development talent for everything from project-based work to large managed services programs. And with that, I'd like to introduce our guest today, Michelle Lenz. Michelle, how are you?
I'm good, Brenda. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're really thrilled to have you. Thanks so much. And Michelle and I go way back, at least 15 years. We work, Michelle, as a consultant and are very happy to be able to highlight this topic today. I just want to give a little disclaimer that we're going to be sharing some thoughts and opinions here today, and there are plenty of them out there. So we expect to have a lively chat with some comments and things and some questions. We'll get to as many as we can today. And with that, Michelle, would you be open to giving us a little background about your journey within learning and development, and of course, within the topic of AI?
So I know people in the chat. They're like, "Hi, Michelle."
Yeah, exactly.
So my job is to help organizations embrace AI in a smart, strategic, and responsible way, from the perspective of learning, HR, and change management. I've spent over 20 years leading L&D teams, and now I work as an AI strategist. And I help companies move from maybe we should look into AI to actually doing something about it. I also teach classes regularly on AI. I speak at conferences and I build workshops that make AI a little less scary. And I'm based in Seattle. Everybody in the chat is from all over, I see.
I know.
And,
I
uh,
see.
and I love dogs. I love music, vinyl records, and my dogs are actually George and Ringo. So if you're old enough to get the reference.
I definitely get the reference. That's awesome. And this is a good moment for me to give a plug for our upcoming ebook, which Michelle has authored on the topic of AI governance, policies, and ethics. And thank you so much for putting that together, Michelle. We're looking forward to that coming out. It will be available for everybody to see. So with that, let's dive into our topic here today. I think we should start with a rather provocative question, which is, you actually believe that AI enhances critical thinking skills. Tell us how so.
Yes, I'm noticing that, by the way, in the chat, a lot of people are sending to host and panelists. You should be able to pull that drop down there and send it to everyone so everybody can see where you're from. Just saw that. I do it all the time in Zoom.
Thank you.
But yes, AI, I believe it makes us better critical thinkers. That sounds counterintuitive to what a lot of people say. Like all over LinkedIn, people are just, AI doesn't let you think. AI takes away creativity. And I think it's just the opposite. The problem isn't usually the tool. It's what we're putting into the tool. It's our input. So you need to slow down, clarify your intent and what you really want. And that forces you to think better. AI holds up a mirror. If you put something vague in there, you get something vague back.
Precisely. Yeah. And I think you have some slides that you're going to bring up. I
Yes.
just want to let everybody know that we'll just have a few slides today. We're hoping it'll be more of a conversation, but we wanted to give some framework to the conversation. And I like your analogy of holding up a mirror. And
Yes.
it makes sense that the critical thinking part is in how you interact with the tool.
Yes. I'm having a little PowerPoint trouble here.
No worries. In the meantime, I will look at, we've got Toronto, Atlanta, my goodness, Vegas, Western North Carolina. Love that. New Mexico. And some people did get the Beatles reference there with your dachshunds.
Okay, Ian, I may have to have you drive the slides, please. Ian is our producer today, because it's not letting me, of course, technical difficulties. Thank
It
you.
looks like we'll have them here shortly. So there we go.
Always a backup plan.
No
Okay,
pan.
I think before you prompt AI, you need to figure out why you're even doing it. So, how can you solve a problem if you can't define that problem? So, you need to define it clearly. Write a problem statement. Now, Ian, if you move it to the next slide, please. Sorry. A very poor problem statement would be users are confused, or users are confused about our website. A clear problem statement would be users are struggling to find the customer support section on the website. An even
Right.
better problem statement would give more context. Who are your users? So think about that. Think about identifying those things. And on the next slide, structured prompting is the best way to start. So give the AI a role. You are a website designer. You're a customer service specialist and a website designer. A clear statement of what you want it to do. Context. Who is your audience? What is the background information? The goal. What is the goal of this entire thing? Formatting. Do you want this result in bullets?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want it as a graphic? Do you need a poster? Constraints? Don't do this. Or just do this. And then finally, AI functions amazing when you give it examples. So next slide. This is my favorite example. The role, you are a planetary tour guide for the Intergalactic Space Agency. Request, design a short travel brochure for a tourist trip to Saturn's moon. Your audience is curious earthlings of all ages. So I'm giving it some context there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The goal is to spark excitement about the destination and space travel. And then format. Ensure the brochure is formatted as a one-page flyer. Constraints, use friendly, engaging language and avoid technical jargon. And then finally, include a description of the terrain, points of interest, travel tips, and a packing list as examples. So you can see it takes thinking. You have to sit here and critically think and create your problem statement. What am I trying to solve? And then you need to put it into a structure that the AI is going to respond to. The more precise your request, the more precise your answer.
This is a
That's it
beautiful
for the
example.
slides.
And
But
process.
yeah, and I got this from Ethan Mollick, and I've modified it a little. But Ethan Mollick he's the guy who makes AI very accessible. He's a researcher and a professor at Wharton School of Business. He's written a great book called Co-Intelligence. And if you follow him on LinkedIn or on his blog, he's the first time I read about this. And I've modified it slightly, but to work better for me, really. And that's the beauty of this, is you don't have to use all of these things. You can just use some of these things. Maybe most of your prompt is context and it's not constraints or format. But as long as you're using some of this, you're thinking about what you really want to get out of the AI.
You know, I would love to know your evaluation technique or what kind of a process you use to make sure that what AI is giving you is actually accurate. Do you have a process for that?
I do, and it kind of depends on what I'm working on. When I was working on the ebook, I was looking for certain sources, and AI gave me all these sources. And I went out to check them, and I said, that's not in there. So I was like, that's not true. You have hallucinated a source or the content of a source. So that actually is a great example of how AI not always accurate. You cannot just trust it. You can't just cut and paste from AI. So accuracy, always I double check the accuracy. Bias, a lot of, depending on what I'm doing, if I'm generating learner personas, for example, I'll ask it, do you see bias in these personas you just gave me? And it will go back through, identify where it accidentally included bias or stereotypes, and then it will redefine my personas for me.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah.
So sometimes you just have the AI test itself. And then context, does it fit what I'm asking for? Does it fit the requirements of my prompt? And then is it generic or is it more creative? Or so the generic ones, they all sound the same. So you want it to be a little more creative. And then you have to put you into it. It does not work if you just cut and paste from the AI. You have to be engaged with the content. So that's really my own process. I go through, it's not quick. It's still speedier than me sitting down and using like reference books and things, but it's still not a quick process to make sure everything is right and still human.
Yeah, well, you're disappointing a lot of people because people want things to be easy and fast. And so I just had some questions here, and one of them is especially based on what you're saying, there are certain skills that we need to strengthen when using AI. I mean, taking the position of risk manager, for example, which kind of dovetails into policies and ethics and things like that. So overall, what kind of skills will AI strengthen in us, and critical, including critical thinking skills?
I think the risk of using a jargony word,
Yeah.
I can't even say it, synthesis.
Yeah.
Because you're taking your ideas and AI's thoughts, if we want to call them thoughts, AI's outputs, and combining them and getting something new out of that. We're not just looking at the AI output, we're actually learning to take our own thoughts and combine it, improve upon it, or question it. Structuring, of course, so writing really structured, really good prompts. Curiosity. In fact, OpenAI just debuted today, study and learn mode in ChatGPT. And it allows you to it's adaptive learning. So any instructional designers in here, it's adaptive learning. So it will find out what do you know about whatever subject, and then it will teach you and ask you questions, find out your level, give you more information based on where you are in your learning process. It also helps you develop quizzes and things, but it also helps you study for tests and things coming up. So curiosity is a huge thing with AI. And then finally, judgment. There are things that you just don't need to use AI for. You may be sitting there thinking about it, and it's like, it would be
So we need to
if
have
I
the
did it myself.
Yeah, and that seems like something that that people need to be trained around. And of course, this always seems to factor into our webcasts in some way, are these generational differences and how we relate to technology and how we're interfacing and using it. So judgment, which is something that also comes with experience. So maybe some guidelines, some guardrails around are being developed.
I have a matrix in the I have an ATD guidebook. I don't know what to call it. It's a thin little thing called Partnering with AI for Instructional Design. And in the back of that, I have a decision matrix on, do you even need to use AI?
Oh, that's fine. Do you have a copy of that handy? So
sorry, that's the decision matrix, but here's the book, everybody.
And that's
if you're an ATD member, it's a free download.
That's wonderful.
But some of my guidelines for, do you even, judge it? I mean, do you really need to use AI? If the task is repetitive or time consuming, maybe you need to use AI. If you're constantly manually going through giant spreadsheets, feed it into AI. The task involves data analysis. Again, great for AI, especially for me. I hate spreadsheets and analyzing data, but I'm great
Oh,
at it when ChatGPT or Claude is creating charts and graphs for me. Never need to learn how to do a pivot table because
yeah.
ChatGPT can just do it for me. Personalization is beneficial. You might want to think humans should do it. Um, if your existing tools are sufficient, why bring a new one into it?
Right.
Don't fix what's not broken.
Yeah.
If there are ethical considerations, maybe don't use AI because you can run into a lot of hiccups without a lot of other guardrails. And then if the task actually does require human expertise, again, maybe AI is not where you want to start. And maybe in all these processes, AI can come later. But
Mhm.
right now, everybody's rushing to use AI as a tool. And that's not necessarily, we don't have to use it for everything.
I'm just looking to see if we've got any specific questions coming over. I know you have access to the chat as well, Michelle. This is a good time to see if there's anything. Lots of great comments here. Um, and also offering some other references too.
Well, we can probably take the slides down too. I see that in
Yeah,
here.
were there any
That's a good
more
point.
any
Nope,
more you
that is
wanted to
it.
share them?
It
Okay.
was a whopping 4 slides.
Yeah, there was you referenced something I think somebody wanted to, oh yeah.
Oh,
Let me
and
see here. Sorry, I'm
Deidre,
a little behind on the time here.
that is the one in the chat. I'm not clicking on it, but it's a TD at work guide. So yes.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I had a couple questions, but one sort of an open-ended question. The biggest misconception people have about AI and thinking skills. That, in your opinion, what are some of those, or at least one?
Um, People think AI makes us lazy, and I think that's just the lazy way of prompting. Um, you hear a lot in data science, garbage in, garbage out, bad data
Yeah.
in, bad data out. So it's the exact same thing. Without really thinking through this, then you're not going to get a great response. People are like, AI did nothing for me, or oh, everything sounds generic. Well, you're not giving it the right question or prompt. And then after you get that, it's fine to be iterative and just keep going back and forth with it. I'm working on a course right now for a client, and I have brainstormed the entire outline with AI, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, why do we really need that? And this is way too long for 90 minutes. What do you think we can cut?
Yeah.
Because I've got too much information. So it can judge you. You can ask it for feedback and tell it to be harsh or honest. Ask it to play
Mhm.
devil's advocate with you.
Right.
I've created focus groups. It'll create learner personas, and I'll then have those learner personas engage in conversation with questions I've asked them,
Mhm.
which is weird at first, but then you get used to it. Uh, all these imaginary people talking to you, basically. But that kind of thing is really engaging with the AI. And without engagement, yeah, you're not using any critical thinking skills. But if you're engaging and really trying to get feedback and everything else, then you're minded. Your brain is engaged.
Right. And it has to be with so much of what we do. Yeah, somebody asked a question here. Do you use AI to detect if others have used AI instead of original work? I do hear people say a lot, like I'll send an email, maybe it's around a sensitive topic, and someone will go, "Oh, that was a nice email. I could tell you didn't use AI." So, yeah, I think there's sometimes people can be either offended or it can feel a little inauthentic.
Yeah, I agree. I get all upset when people accuse me of using AI because I use M dashes, an English
Uh-huh.
degree. And I was a technical editor for years. I like M dashes and N dashes and hyphens, and they're all different things. But writers use M dashes for a reason. It doesn't mean AI wrote it. So that's a thing that drives me nuts. Emojis, I use those on LinkedIn all the time because the text is all squished together. So I'll use little bullets. Doesn't mean AI wrote it. It means I'm trying to make it easier to read. Um, but there are AI detectors out there.
Yeah.
And I subscribe to GPT-0. accidentally, actually. I subscribed to it once and it renewed recently. And, they're not the kind to tell you. But it doesn't work. Those things are like 50 to 60% accurate. Because I've tested them over and over. I've read reports, they just don't work. It's very hard to detect AI writing if the person who has used AI has used it correctly and not lazy. Lazy AI, very easy to spot.
Interesting. Well, that brings up a question. How do you teach people how to have better critical thinking skills? Because it's almost like a different kind of critical thinking that it is necessary with AI. Any ideas on how you teach that?
So when I teach it's basically intro to prompting workshops, although I would call them more AI fundamentals, but somebody else
Mm-hmm.
picked the topic or title. But I try not to focus solely on this idea that you need to learn how to prompt. You need to learn how to talk to the AI. And that starts with structure. But then I teach what I call conversational AI, but actually is officially called steering, because you're steering the AI in the direction you want it to go. But it's just
Yeah.
iteration.
Okay.
I have a session on design thinking in AI,
Mhm.
and I find that very, very, very relevant, especially the iterative part of design thinking. So you're not going to get a perfect answer. One thing I've had to change in my own thinking is putting in something and getting a perfect answer the first time.
Mhm.
Not going to happen. So you learn to adjust to iteration and continuing to do it and just have a conversation with it. And if you have to name the AI to make it easier to have a conversation with it, that's fine. I name mine Kermit. And it responds to Kermit and occasionally gives me little frog emojis. But
Yeah.
but it helps me when I'm trying to brainstorm with it and work through an idea to actually give it a name, even though I'm not anthropomorphizing it. I swear, I know it's
Right.
just a giant prediction machine, but it just helps me have a better conversation with the AI.
Yeah. As long
So
as you're not calling it Hal.
I'm sure there are people who have named it Hal. I'm sure
That's
there
another
are.
thing that, wow.
I just saw that movie like a couple months ago. I'd never seen it. It
Yeah.
was very
Voiceover is kind of
creepy.
interesting on that. Definitely creepy. Um, yeah, so with respect to educators and managers who are worried about this making people lazy, what do you think? I mean, if I sort of go out on a limb here and say that people do like things to be easier, that's what has helped human beings evolve. Um, is this part of like the governance and ethics and policies that all companies will have eventually has to include some sort of training and mindset around productivity and the amount of time you spend on this? How do you instill that into like a governance program just to get into that area? Like, is that required training,
I think
certifications?
part of governance is training and making sure people understand how to use the tool they've been given. AI is really more than a tool, it's a transformation in how we're doing things, and it's the future of work, as people say. Um, so providing that training to teach people how to think critically. I don't think we are teaching the human side enough.
Mhm.
Um, the personal development skills, empathy or critical thinking skills, design thinking. And I believe all those skills help with AI. And then AI just encourages you to use them more. So I really believe that kind of training needs to be available for anyone in an organization. Here, go take these great personal development skills, as well as we really require you to learn how to use the AI correctly.
Yeah.
And then somebody has really got to write those classes, and they can't just be, like click the next button classes. These have to be interactive. You need to be going out and using the tool. Another thing Ethan Mollick has said is you need to spend 10 hours just playing with AI to really understand how you're going to use it and how it will function for you.
And that is just your own journey, of course. Yeah, I find that when I use it, the iterative process is really important in the boiling down. And that by virtue of having to do it 3 or 4 times to say, next time I'm going to make sure that my prompt is a lot more informative.
Yeah.
What I'm
Yeah.
getting here for sure. So yeah,
I'm looking at some of the things in
yeah,
the
please.
chat, and
It's kind of
Robert
going, as they
is
say.
saying that it's going so fast.
It is, yeah.
Robert is saying that he's found ChatGPT to have calculation errors on advanced math. I don't know a thing about advanced math, but I am not surprised. When I was taking a Python coding class, I I could not actually it was machine learning, so it was past Python, but still using Python, and I just could not get my head around it. And ChatGPT was a very good tutor because unlike my online professors, I could ask it questions and it wouldn't think it has infinite patience as a tutor, right? But I would pop in something and it for my homework and ask it to explain how to do it for me. It would give me one answer. And then I'd be like, I'm not quite sure that that's right. And I'd go over to Claude and it would give me a totally different answer. I still got that question wrong. 2 different answers. And I went with what I thought. Totally got it wrong. So ChatGPT is not always right. And the more advanced things you put in it, the more it has to think. I recommend if you're going to put in more advanced things to use one of the reasoning models. I think it's Claude Sonnet or Opus. It's Claude Opus or ChatGPT O3, not 0, O3. And that will soon be replaced by ChatGPT 5 in the next couple of weeks. They'll just blend them all together, we hope, with another poor name.
So with respect to the topic overall, I think, or your take on the topic, that it does require more critical skills, critical thinking skills. There are others out there saying the opposite, other sources. I wonder if you want to comment on that.
Yeah, I've hasn't come up in the chat yet, but I kind of thought it would. MIT came out with a study a month or so ago that said, well, it takes away your creative and critical thinking skills. And this goes back to garbage in, garbage out. The way they were directed to do things encouraged laziness. So the LLM group, so they divided everybody into 2 groups. You have the group that was told to write an essay without using AI. And the other one was directed to very specifically use AI to write their essay. Now, what does that say? I'm using AI to actually write the essay, right? So does that engage you? No, not at all. So the AI group came back and I got the numbers here. 0 out of 18 of the LLM participants, 18 of them, by the way, very small study, could accurately quote from their essay. Well, yeah, you specifically said have AI write the essay. You did not say use AI to help you write the essay, which is a very, very different statement. So if there's no engagement, my friend Marcus says, it's like hiring a gardener. If you hire a gardener, you are not going to learn how to garden and you're not going to engage. If you go out there, you ask him questions, or you just learn to garden yourself, you're engaged. So it's the same thing. So I have real issues with the MIT study because 1, tiny sample, but 2, I don't think they phrased things correctly to get an accurate result as opposed to a lazy result.
Yeah, for sure. I think for, children, people are very concerned about how this is going to
I'm
impact.
concerned too. Actually, I'm concerned about AI as a companion and AI as a friend. But I suppose it's no different than maybe it's a little different. But social media, everybody's very, very concerned about what that was doing
Yeah.
to our brains. And other than the fact that I spend every morning scrolling a tablet, I'm reading the New York Times, though. I'm just not
Right.
holding a paper version of it. So I
Yeah.
don't think social media destroyed our minds. One thing I'm really worried about with AI, and this is a legitimate worry, is deep fakes and misinformation and just being able to so easily. I created a video yesterday of dachshunds talking to
Mhm.
demonstrate to my class how quick and easy it was to create a video in Google. And I mean, these things, some of the AI LLMs out there, they don't have a lot of guardrails. So, or you can install your own local LLM. And so without those guardrails, they could be generating presidents or Taylor Swift or anyone else. So I do worry about
Yeah.
that. Although that
Yeah.
takes critical thinking skills too.
Absolutely. I was talking to a guest that we've had in the past, Dr. Joe Rios, um, about just about humanity and human beings and the way we are. There's always this drive for the next thing. So what meaning, this explorer kind of energy that we have in our species, let's call it that. So with regards to that, when you go hang out with friends, you go camping, you're playing games, I think our desire to be mental gymnastics will drive us to not become lazy because I
I
can
think
even
so
tell from
too.
talking to you, I mean, we want to be stimulated intellectually. We also want to compete, is another thing. We want to do well. We want to get kudos. We want to be acknowledged for going beyond and having something be really, really good, not just always getting something done quickly. So,
Right. I think AI can help us produce more quality work than we have before. And
yeah,
yeah, it can do it more rapidly, but we'll have more time to spend on the quality work because the boring stuff can really be done by an agent. Um, I really didn't want to research a trip to Vancouver I had coming up. I just didn't want to go through all the hotels and train tickets and things to do. So I had ChatGPT's operator, which is their new agent, just do all of that for me.
yeah,
And it came back with 3 different itineraries I could choose from or mix and match. And I didn't have to go research anything. So
yeah,
that kind of thing I love. Um,
yeah,
Giving AI a bunch of spreadsheets so I don't have to manually go through them and it can identify maybe duplicates in spreadsheets saves me time so I can concentrate on more quality work as
yeah.
opposed to those manual tasks that are just irritating and take up too much of our time.
Yeah, and you talked about the synthesis skills, the ability to synthesize information. It's like a higher trying to construct a sentence or move a lot of information from different sources into something, some sort of a document. Like that's one level of intellectualizing, but synthesizing the results and then evaluating it for strategic purposes and planning, we will be residing more there with our minds. And yeah, that's
Yeah. I mean, I use AI all the time to get to maybe do a SWOT analysis. So
Mhm.
it can do all of
Yeah,
that
it's
for me
amazing.
and help me think through it. Here is my situation, give me the SWOT analysis. Or like when I wrote the ebook, I brainstormed with AI for the outline. From there, I wrote it.
Yeah,
And then I ran it through ChatGPT for feedback. I incorporated some of the changes, but some of the suggestions, but not all. Then I gave it to my fiance for feedback. And again, I incorporate some of the changes, but not all.
yeah,
And then finally, that last version I ran through Claude because I think Claude is a better business writer than any of the other um, LLMs out there right now. And it gave me
mhm.
some fantastic suggestions, and I incorporated most of those. But this was all I want feedback on my writing. It's not go write this for me. And then I give
Right.
to you, and you gave me suggestions that I took too. But it wasn't about AI doing the work for me. It was AI augmenting what I can already do. And I think that's where we have this disconnect is AI is not going to replace us. AI is going to augment what we can do and make it better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what's next? What do you see on the horizon? Because, and I know, I know you interface with a lot of people who are, thought leaders in this area. Is there anything that you see on the horizon that you'd like to share or discuss? Besides the fact that there are so many huge companies out there operating with absolutely no guardrails, and there is going to be a moment where there is just a massive need for the services that, in fact, you provide with setting up, uh, the governance, et cetera, and
I
roadmaps to do that because you're not just doing
Yeah,
it all,
and
right?
I get really angry. I'll see posts from CEOs and what a lot. So Shopify, I think their CEO came out and basically said, everybody needs to know AI. We're pausing on headcount because chances are AI can do it.
Mm,
And here's where this just goes so off the rails.
yeah.
One, are you going to train them on AI? Or are you just going to hope they can
Yeah.
use it? And
Yeah.
are you going to train it as a tool or as an assistant? And then two, um, if you tell people that you're pausing headcount because AI can do it, then they're going to start thinking, does that mean AI can do my job and I'm going to lose my job? And
Mhm.
so then they're operating out of fear and they're going to sabotage your AI rollout. Nobody is going to use it. People are just going to say how useless it is. It doesn't help them. It's not productive at all. So that's not going to work for you. So what I hope to see companies like Zapier, which is basically an AI native company anyway, but they require everybody to use AI, but they taught them how. And they
Mhm.
still hire people, but when you come in, you have to know AI. Microsoft, same thing. They taught people how to use AI correctly. And now they've said to me, someone in their future of work team said to me, we won't even hire a receptionist if she can't use AI. So, or he.
Mhm.
So um, that that's where I see things going. You need to come into things having AI skills. I think we're going to start relying more on data in the future than we do now, especially in L&D. I think instructional designers are going to need to really learn how to interpret data. I think they need to learn to use AI for more than just, oh, write the course for me,
Mhm.
because that isn't going to work. Um, and I think instructional designers are going to need to focus a lot on their interpersonal skills. And, you can't just use AI as your SME. You have to go interface with that SME. You can double check it in the AI.
Mhm.
And the one thing I want all my students to always learn, and that I want everyone here to take away, is that AI is your intern, and you wouldn't let something leave your desk to your
Mhm.
boss that the intern wrote. You would review it first. AI
Great. That's
is
a
your
great
intern.
analogy.
It's my mantra.
That's a great analogy too.
Um, there's all kinds of things happening in the chat here.
Well, it's always so fun because people start answering each other's questions or
I
debating
know, I
things.
love
It's
that.
so much fun. But let's
Um,
see if there are any questions, or I would
so
invite everybody out there to, if you've got a question for Michelle.
That's good. I do see a couple people have posted the link to the MIT study. So if you scroll up in the chat, you'll be able to find that. Um,
They love the intern analogy.
everybody loves the
Yeah.
intern because you start picturing this happy little robot helping you all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Agent, that's the one I saw. Somebody wants a definition of an agent.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, an agent is something that will autonomously go do things for you. And I describe it as your intern again. You've given your intern a credit card, a car and some instructions. They get to figure out how to make that happen. They're going to go follow those instructions of, okay, grocery store, they have to go buy these things, dry cleaner to pick up your thing. But they have to figure out how to get there, what order to make the stops in, and things like that is the equivalent of an AI agent, right? So it can do a lot of tasks for you, and it can figure out how to get there on its own. Another example, here's a recipe. I want these groceries delivered to my house by 5 p.m. It goes out maybe to Instacart, finds all the ingredients in the recipe, and has them delivered to your house. Me, I didn't have to spend time poking around on Instacart or anything else or figuring out what aisle of the grocery store for something is going to be in. The agent just did all that for me. So that's an AI agent. And there are GPTs inside Chat GPT. That's like asking your intern to make one phone call. One. Just does one thing. It's like In-N-Out Burger. It just does one thing and one thing well.
Well, there's certainly a trend with technology companies. We've seen some of the giants, reducing their learning and development staff internally pretty significantly. So I just wonder if we're seeing that across the board, or if you've noticed that more with the big
I've noticed
technology
it
firms.
mostly in marketing is where I'm seeing it.
Oh, interesting.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That I know. Oh, it's very. How dare you? No.
But I see it there, like with copywriting and things like that. And I hate to say that, but what I think is going to happen is these companies are getting like Shopify. They're getting all excited, and they're going to lay off all these people, and then they're going to realize that their product was better with humans, and that their customers were happier interfacing with humans. Klarna just did this. They're one of those pay-as-you-go places like Afterpay and things. Klarna laid off, I don't even remember how many people. And then it switched everything over to AI agents. And their customers were so upset at constantly having to interface with AI instead of people that they hired so many people back. And I think that is the template for what we're heading towards. These layoffs where everybody is going to end up coming back to a new job when the companies realize that AI isn't a replacement for humans.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and we are seeing some issues around learning and development departments getting a little more streamlined as a result, but hopefully that won't be too much, because there's a lot of wonderful talent out there that sort of sitting on the sidelines a little bit right now is what I've noticed. So
yeah, until recently I was one of them, until I decided this is silly. I'm just going to start my own business.
Yeah. There you go, and in the right area. So for sure. I know you're looking for questions, but at some point
there's so
before we
many
end here pretty soon. I know we'll do that, but I want you to talk a little bit about your class, who you find taking your courses. Do companies hire you to deliver?
It's really interesting. I teach through a company that what they do is they provide the classes for university professional development arms.
Okay.
So University of Utah, Brigham Young, they offer professional development courses that are not for, you're not graded A through F or anything. And you're not getting a course credit for doing this. It's professional development. You get a certification from University of Utah, University of New Mexico, University of Southern Florida. These people sign up through these universities and they get me.
Yeah.
And many others. We have some great instructors, but it's a 5-week AI course, and I absolutely love it, teaching it, because I will get people from their 20s in college all the way up through. I had this great guy in his late 70s. He wanted to learn AI so he could teach everybody in his retirement village. Loved him.
Oh,
So it just runs the gamut, but it's all
yeah.
adults who want to learn these things. And we teach everything in that. It's called, I wish it wasn't called AI prompting, but we teach data analysis, how to use spreadsheets. We teach the structured prompting. We teach different types of prompting. Um, so we teach so much in there, graphics, creative or creative generation with things. It's just this great class. I wish it was longer than 5 weeks, but
Well, I think
and
your
I teach it
particular,
in 5 weeks.
your particular take on this is very stimulating. So there are a lot of people wondering how they might be able to sign up for that. You're welcome to. Uh,
I will. That's a place called Ziplines Education, and they're the ones who provide that. They don't compete with Clarity, so I feel okay.
yeah.
They're
Okay.
the
Yeah.
ones who provide that out to their
I,
university partners, and then you just find one of the university partners on their website and you sign up. We also
okay.
offer a really good one on automating AI workflows. So
Yeah.
you can automate things like the Instacart thing I just talked about. Teach you how to automate that using no code tools. So you don't have to know how to code, but it's got a whole section on it on governance, ethics, and change management that I wrote.
Fascinating. Awesome. Awesome. Great. Well, I don't know if there's a few questions that we might be able
There
to get to
are a
here,
lot
or
of questions.
yeah, let's just take a moment. We can have a little dead air here while you're, that's okay, while you're uh, looking for
I
some.
would say to Robert, who didn't post his comment publicly, but I would say I signed up for that one too and stopped. The same reaction. Let's see. There was one in here. Oh, this is the one. I am a teacher. It's Mark. Teacher, professor, school leader. How can I allow students to use AI, but also prevent plagiarism and cheating? I don't know if, well, actually, some things I've heard, and I'm pursuing my master's at Arizona State University. I get that right? In AI right now. And it's AI in business, so no code.
Mhm.
But things they do, I have to give my prompt, right? Here's the prompt. In some cases, here's the prompt and here's what AI generated, and then they can see the inferences I made from that. So you're saying, yeah, it's great. Go use AI to help your thinking skills, but I want to see what you got out of it, not just what the AI wrote. So um, I think that's how professors and uh, K through 12 teachers really need to proceed. Is yeah, AI is okay, but you need to use it to think, not to just take. Um,
Yeah. What did you get out
so
of it? Yeah.
yeah, so
The
here's the prompt, here's the
reflection.
response, and here's how I have come to my own conclusion in this essay I'm writing. And I think that's the best way to do that. Um, do you have suggestions about the most important ways for IDs to expand their relevant leverage of AI for data analysis? Start popping your spreadsheets into AI right now, um, and just ask it for trends. And I mean, I took my vinyl records, and there are a lot of those in this house. There's over 2,000. And I have it all in a database. I extracted a Excel from the database, popped it into AI, and asked it to analyze trends. It'll do qualitative and quantitative data. Um, and as you start playing with it and realizing the stories it can tell, and you start diving deeper into the trends, you start understanding how it can analyze the data. The best way to learn to do anything in AI, data analysis, graphics, anything, is just to play with it.
Wow. Now I want to know more about your album collection. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, and I'm thinking about sports and baseball in particular, and going back to it's called Billy Ball, whatever, the great story about the Oakland A's and how they were doing the data analysis in order to
Yeah,
recruit.
I recently watched Moneyball. Yeah, I
Moneyball,
recently
that's it.
watched
Billy
it
Ball. Yeah, it was Billy.
because it actually has a lot of relevance on how they're using the data. And I think, wow, AI could have sped up this whole process for them.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, I didn't think I'd like that movie because what I understand about baseball fits in a thimble.
Yeah,
But I love that movie because it was
yeah.
really about the data, not the baseball.
Well done. Well done. That's for sure. All right. Well, I know we were looking at about 45 minutes and we are there. But let's see, we can take a bit longer and grab some more. Like you said, they're coming so fast and we,
Lindsay asked, have you seen critical thinking decrease with companies wanting all employees to learn AI? I could see the hurry up and go model being counteractive. Yeah. The companies that are treating AI like a tool and not a transformation are not communicating the right thing to their employees. I had a client who actually opted for an AI academy, and this is a wonderful way to go because it started with just foundational e-learning, but from there it moved into webinars and instructor-led classes that took you a little deeper into how things went, and then another one. And so after I think it was like the e-learning plus 2 or 3 of these classes, you got one level of certification. But then if you wanted to go further, they were offering AI for each vertical. So AI for marketing, AI for finance, AI for L&D, that were very specific as to really helping you use AI effectively in your specific role. And that is the best approach. And a lot of companies aren't doing that. A lot of companies haven't figured it out. It all comes back to change management, and that is a soapbox I could go on for another hour.
yeah, I was going
So
to
I won't.
say, we need to have you back to talk about change management around this because I know you have a lot of
I would love that.
knowledge. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, fantastic. Well, we could go on here, but I think this might be a good juncture, Michelle, to just thank you so much for being with us today, and it's such a lively chat. A lot of people
Can I
joining.
field one more question?
Yeah,
Because
please go
Ian
for it. Love it.
Ian sent this directly to us. Does the I lost it. Does the IT role of the future include knowing how to build AI agents that can automate all the workflow involved in executing every step of an ADDIE-driven project?
Oh boy.
So I don't think an AI agent will ever be able to replicate the entire ADDIE process. Analysis, I still think you need a human in there for the nuance and the cultural implications of training, right? Design and development, yeah, okay. Is the design going to be as great? Probably not. The instructional integrity, maybe. The development, definitely. If somebody took development off my plate when I was an instructional designer, I'd have been so happy. It was not the thing I like to do. I was the
Yeah.
designer, not the developer. Implementation, yeah, okay. We have that now, right? Articulate
Yeah.
publishes directly to a learning management system.
Yeah.
So there you go. Evaluation, yes, that can be automated in a lot of different ways. But who needs to read the evaluation? We do, the
Yeah.
humans. And again, with the analysis and then the design and development, that content has got to be reviewed. So maybe IDs are going to move more into the critical thinking analysis part, definitely the
Mhm.
critical thinking evaluation part, and in between, QA.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's the future for IDs. I don't think ADDIE will be totally automated. I hope not, because then I don't want to take that training.
Of course, the backdrop to this is that we're dealing with emotional beings and a lot of complexities there. So there may be areas of training that are better suited for AI and
Yeah,
than others, as we continue to.
purely technical training, you still have to
Yeah,
QA it. But if it's
yeah,
really
yeah.
just about how to use a machine or something, while
Hmm,
you need to
hmm.
QA it, you're not really worried about empathy. Um,
Right.
but in a lot of training, we need to consider empathy. And AI is good at faking empathy, but it's still not real empathy. It's a machine.
Yeah.
So until they have feelings, we still need
Yeah.
instructional designers.
Right. Good to hear. Good to hear. All right. Well, thank you. And as I indicated, recording of this will be available in the next few days on Clarity's website and also on our YouTube channel, along with many other webcasts that we've done. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thanks for the lively chat, and we hope you enjoy the
Great
rest of
chat.
your week. Thank you so much, Michelle. Really an honor. Appreciate it.
I loved it. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Hope to see you again.